Today, we're talking about keys to growth for the Chicago Bulls this season. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Mazzella's slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about the blueprint to growth for the Chicago Bulls this season. And so we're going to be looking at the offense, defense, coaching, and the front office. And so let's go ahead and let's start with offense. And so what I would like to see from this team this year on the offensive side of the ball is offensive efficiency. I think that that is going to be the key to growth for the Chicago Bulls this season. And so just taking a look at the numbers from a season ago, you see that the Bulls struggled with turnovers there at 13.9. They ranked 21st in the NBA. And so I think that by becoming a bit more efficient, understanding where you need to go with the basketball, and really, I think just slowing down, because I think that that led to a lot of turnovers last season. And I understand, look, it was the first time playing in this system. And so, it does take you, time to kind of get, just in sync playing this new system. And so I will give it to the Bulls there. But this season, look, they're going to have to be able to play fast, but also be more efficient and not have the silly turnovers, because you need to maximize your possessions, especially if you're trying to get some more wins. And then next, when you're talking about efficiency, aside from the turnovers, I think that just really being more efficient in the half court game, because, teams now have got a chance to see what your playing style is going to look like as far as getting up and down the floor, trying to get to the three ball and everything else. And so, teams are going to try to counter that. And so when the Chicago Bulls have to go into the half court set, that is where you want to be able to take advantage of mismatches. And so that means if you have Vooch or somebody down on the post, you need to go there. And then also, too, with your ball movement, you should have some good player movement. That is going to lead to the layups and easy finishes at the basket. Hopefully, you're getting to the free throw line, which I think that is what Josh Giddey and then also, too, Kobe White did a terrific job at doing last season. And we're hoping that they pick up off of that, because that's going to help you in the half court. But, I think that is the two things that I think about with efficiency for this team. And I think that if you see that type of growth, that's going to be a great sign for this team. And I think that does lead you to some more wins. And so next, looking at the defense, I think that just for me, the sign of growth there is going to be just more intensity on the defensive end and just the ability to cause more turnovers. And so I really do think that Isaac Okoro is going to have a terrific year. I think he's coming in, with the chip on his shoulder. And I think that he's going to get a ton of opportunity with the Chicago Bulls. It doesn't matter if he starts or comes off the bench. And I think that Ayo Dosunmu, he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder as well. And so I think that both of these guys are going to be very hungry. And I'm just hoping that that energy is really going to charge up the defense, because I think that it is something that just really the energy can be contagious here for this team. And I think that if this team can just get some identity along with, kind of causing this type of chaos and getting turnovers and things like that, it's really going to help this team for the long-term build. And also, too, I think it's going to cover up, just some of the things that the Bulls obviously struggle with, which is stopping, teams in the paint. So hopefully, with that team identity that we're going to get here defensively from Ayo, and then also, too, from Isaac Okoro, and then hopefully, your Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, and then also to Patrick Williams and these guys like that to contribute as well. We're hoping that that type of intensity will turn some things around for this team, and that's certainly going to lead to some more wins. And then next, taking a look at the coaching aspect of it. And so I think that what would really kind of indicate some growth this season there would be Billy Donovan going ahead and getting his younger players out there. And so I'm talking about Noah Asenge. Hopefully he is able to get the minutes that he needs to develop. And then also too, looking at some of these players that you maybe still have some questions about. And so that means if it's Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, you're trying to figure out who they are, I would like to see these players get some minutes along with Jalen Smith because, if they're not going to be here, fine, but you need to at least see what you have. And then also, too, you need to give these guys chances to contribute because I definitely think that they are going to really be counted on this season. And so, the team has, I think, really transitioned to a younger team. And so that means that you have to play these guys. And so also, too, I would like to see Billy Donovan really make the adjustments just in game, and then also to maybe making more adjustments to just cause mismatches. And so that means that, just an example, I would like to see, this team perhaps at times maybe run, two centers out there. And so go with Jalen Smith and then also to Zach Collins, or Jalen Smith and then Vooch as well. Like, I would like to see some more of that during games and just really try to get a lot more mismatches in the favor of the Chicago Bulls. And so that means just kind of making those adjustments really throughout the game. And so that's what I would like to see here, from Billy Donovan. And again, I want to just emphasize it some more. Really, you need to play your younger players. And so hopefully Noah Asenge, if he is showing flashes like Modest Buzelis did a season ago, hopefully, he gets in there much, much sooner rather than later, because you're talking about the future of the team here. And that certainly is going to help you as far as development and just the long term. And so next, just looking at the front office here. And so really what we want to see there. And so I just have one thing for the front office, and that is just get some draft assets back, like get some more draft capital. I think that that is really the biggest thing that I would like to see from the front office here. And I'm not saying that you just go out and you just trade everybody. No, I'm not saying that. But look, if you bring back second round picks, I'm okay with that. Just find ways to get the Bulls some more draft capital so they can have more bites at the apple, because the sooner you do that, I think the more quickly this team kind of turns around and gets things going in the right direction. And so, just to be clear, I think that they are heading into a good direction, but I think that by taking multiple bites at the apple in the draft, you have a chance to maybe turn some things around sooner rather than later there. And so that's what I would like to see with this front office. I hope that, we do hear that the front office is definitely picking up the phone and making calls. And so I think that that's another thing, being a bit more aggressive. And again, just making moves that make sense for this team. That's what I would love to see from the front office. And I think things that would show signs of growth. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. And so once again, I said with the offense, I would like to see some more efficiency here from this team. And I think that by getting more efficient, that is going to help this team grow there. And I think that that leads to some more wins. Next, with the defense, I was talking about just really we must get identity with this team. And it's something that you can just really build with. And so I'm hoping that Isaac Okoro is able to bring that along with Ayo Dosunmu. I mentioned Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Patrick Williams, maybe even Jalen Smith. I think that Zach Collins, you can throw him out there. Like, those are players that I think are going to help us with this defense. And we need that. I think that, even if you have, just a franchise player, you've traded for a superstar player, whatever, you need team identity on defense. And so hopefully we see that this year. I think that that will help this team as far as getting some more wins, hopefully getting out of the play-in. And then as far as coaching, like I said, I think that really the biggest thing that I would love to see is that Billy Donovan just, goes ahead and he plays, these younger players, because, with players that you have some question marks on, if it's Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, Jalen Smith, you're trying to figure out, okay, are they going to be a part of the roster? Do you want to move them or whatnot? You need to see what you have. And so I'm hoping that, he gives those players a chance to see what they can do. And then also too, with Noah Asenge, you want to see him play. And so if Noah Asenge is showing that, he's got the same type of, kind of flashes as Monis Bazelis and things like that. I'm just hoping that, Billy Donovan will go ahead and pivot and get him out there much quicker than maybe he did a season ago. I think that that's really what you would want to see, because the best way that he's going to get better is just by experiencing things. And so it's not going to be just at practice and things like that. It's not going to be just playing, in the G League. He's going to need some actual game reps. And so I'm not saying that, you just throw him out there for the sake of it. But no, if he's showing the signs, then you need to put him out there early. And then next, as far as management, like I said, I think that really we would love to see this team be aggressive. I'm not saying that they're just making tons of trades, but I would love to see this team get some more draft capital back. I think that that is going to be critical for really building this team for the long term. Is you need to get some draft capital. You need to take more bites at the apple here, see if you can get a franchise player, or at least just get some more pieces that really just kind of complement what you have here with this team. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Media Day is going to be Monday, so super excited for that. We're going to be talking some more Chicago Bulls basketball here. And so as we always say, go Bulls, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.